What's going on, fam? How is everyone doing? We're doing pretty good.
We're doing great.
Brian's always here. Randy's hanging out, as usual. The biggest thing in the news, it seems, at the moment is this whole Hunter Biden laptop issue, which has got a lot of people pissed off because, you know, the election and all that. This ties in with the whole impeachment shit and all that. So I put this compilation together of our boy Tim Pool, because I don't think anyone has laid it out so fucking perfectly that we can all understand it. So let's check this out.
I think one of the reasons Vladimir Putin didn't invade Ukraine, one of them, is that Donald Trump stumbled upon the corruption of Joe Biden in Ukraine when he did that phone call, and that perfect phone call, they say, or he says, when he said, look, you know, I saw this video about Joe Biden bragging about withholding aid or whatever. If you could look into that, what was that all about? And I don't think Donald Trump really knew what that was all about. Just something he saw on the internet. But they impeached him for it. Why? Well, as it turns out, the laptop story was all true. Joe Biden was involved with illicit dealings with his son through Ukraine. We've got the Burisma, which is paying Joe Biden's son $83,000 a month, or arguably more, depending on which source you're using. And then there's the story about 10% for the big guy. I think when you look at Politico reported this.
I don't know the 10% for the big guy. Is that a Biden reference?
There was an email that came out where it was, you know, like Devin Archer and Hunter Biden, his associates. I want to be careful here because I don't have the specifics pulled up, but it was Hunter Biden and his associates talking about how they're going to be splitting up one of their business dealings. And they said, and I'll take an extra 10% for the big guy or something to that effect.
That's not Mr. Carlson either from WKRP. Big guy.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Right.
No, it ain't.
That's funny.
And everyone believes that's Joe Biden because, you know, it's Joe Biden's the guy who controlled all the influence. We know that Joe and Hunter Biden shared bank accounts. And so right away, it's, you know, and then there's a text message from Hunter where he's talking.
Wait, hold on. Actually, I want to back up on that. Really, because I look at the situation. I'm going to be honest with you. I have more of a mainstream approach to this. So this is new information to me, and I'm intrigued by this. I looked at that and I went, it appears that the president of the United States is extorting an ally or at least a cooperative power.
Trump?
Yes.
How is he extorting them?
By withholding defense money in order to try and get them to target a political.
That's literally what Trump was investigating Biden doing.
And there
Joe
it is.
Biden is on video saying, I want you to fire this prosecutor. Otherwise, you're not getting $1 billion.
Exactly.
So then I put this together. So here's the evidence right here. Here's what they're talking about.
Very famous clip.
I remember going over convincing our team, or others, to convincing us that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I said, I'm not going to, or we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting $1 billion. I said, you're not getting $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid.
You want to know why Joe Biden got the prosecutor fired? The prosecutor, Victor Shokin, currently had at minimum 12 investigations into Burisma's founder, Mykola Zlochevsky.
That was probably the most coherent thing I think I've seen Biden say without a
Without
prompter,
stumbling?
or without
Wow.
a scramble, without stumbling. That
That's
really goes
why-
to show how far
That's
in cognitive decline Biden
Right.
really is.
Yeah.
Also, too, he's telling the truth.
Yeah,
You don't have to stumble
that
if you're
too.
telling the truth. When you're
He is
stumbling, you're
telling-
I don't know.
Atta boy.
He is
Brian, I
telling the
didn't even
truth.
think of that, dude.
Yeah.
Fucking
Yeah.
right on. That's why I love Brian.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks. Love you too, man. Love you too.
Right now, it's getting weird.
Okay, that's getting weird. Let's
Yeah.
stop.
And Shokin signed a sworn affidavit saying he was fired because Joe Biden was interfering in internal affairs in the country. And the president went to him and says, he's forcing us to fire you. Mykola Zlochevsky is deeply corrupt. They had frozen his assets before. He had fled the country before. But as soon as this new prosecutor gets in thanks to Joe Biden, dude comes on back. Dude founds a company where Joe's son works. At the very least, you can say, Joe just didn't know that his son worked for the company. Joe says, I never talked to my son about his business dealings. Then thanks to the laptop, we learn that's not true. Joe Biden shared a bank account with his son while his son was...
See, the bank account bit's the part that's new to me, that I think it's interesting, because like you could make an argument here. Let's theoretically, let's say that Hunter Biden is getting money because he can just soak the cash up, and they're basically trying to bribe Biden by giving money to his son. Well, you could be an impeachable person and have somebody try to bribe you by giving money to your son. But if they're sharing bank accounts, that means that firewall's gone.
Joe Biden could become embroiled in the FBI's probe into Hunter's finances. Experts say emails reveal they shared bank accounts, paid each other's bills, and the president may have even funded his son's 2018 drug and prostitution binge. Now, if Hunter Biden is getting money...
Wow. Wait a minute. Now, like Jan says, he don't work for the government, though.
Right.
Who the heck cares?
He doesn't work for the government. Get the fuck out of here.
Working for an energy company in which he has no business, and he's sharing a bank account with his dad, and a prosecutor is investigating that company, and then his dad comes in and says, "Fire him, or I'm going to withhold U.S. allotted funding." That is so beyond criminal and corrupt. I am shocked that when Donald Trump catches this on accident and has no idea what it is and says, "What's going on here?" they impeached him for it. Yep. These people are deeply, deeply evil. Look at this. People. I mean, come on, man. When to quote Joe Biden, how about that? Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Joe Biden is in photos with Hunter and Hunter's associates, and he lied and said, "I didn't talk to my son about this stuff." No, I'll tell you what it is. Politico reported this a while back. It's called Biden Inc. That the Biden family fortunes track alongside his political career. When Joe Biden was put in charge of Iraq under Obama, all of a sudden his brother's getting these lucrative contracts for construction in the country.
Unbelievable.
Now you have Hunter Biden working at a company in which everyone knows he has no business working at, no expertise, doesn't speak the language, sharing bank accounts. Joe Biden comes in, gets the prosecutor who's investigating the founder, gets him fired, and then what do? The media comes out and lies. They get Trump impeached for it. Yep. And now here we are with many people in this country still believing Trump was the one who was wrong for trying to get rid of that corruption. You have to ask yourself, why are so many high-ranking Democrat family members involved in Ukraine and these energy companies? I think it's because the U.S. policy on Ukraine was that it's not just Ukraine, it's Syria, it's the Middle East, it's the Qatar-Turkey pipeline, was we are going to destroy Russia's ability to control natural gas into Europe because gas is too expensive, and we're going to do it by any means necessary. It was reported by The Guardian, I believe in 2012, that in 2009, the U.S. government had stated we wanted to invade Syria because Bashar al-Assad was blocking our allies from building a pipeline through Syria and Turkey, specifically because Syria said we are allies with Russia and we won't allow it. Then we ended up with our adversaries, I think it was Iran, saying they could tap the same gas field and run it through Iraq and into Europe and strengthen Russia's gas monopoly. So the U.S. has to do a few things. They need to control Gazprom, which runs through Ukraine, and they need an alternative source of fuel. Surprise, surprise, Syria falls in a civil war. The U.S. starts funding the jihadis. Russia's pissed. Then we start getting these pro-Western, protests. Now, there's a lot of people saying it was a CIA-backed coup. I'm not going that far. I'm saying the West, of course, is playing their influence game. The West doesn't want to pay these prices for gas. Russia doesn't want them to screw around with war and destroying their allies to undercut their energy business. But more importantly, if the U.S. policy on Ukraine was to gain control to reduce the cost of energy for our European allies, it appears that Joe Biden and many other high-profile individuals saw that and said, it's time to wet our beaks a little on this one. Get our family members in there so we can cut a profit while it's all going down.
Wow.
What do you think of that?
Well,
wow.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
I mean, I've never heard it laid out so beautifully.
It was
perfect.
my
God,
man.
It
was perfectly.
it's so
well,
strange.
more than that. Go ahead.
Well, it's like these progressives are trying to, how would you say, pacify their base, I guess, by doing all this natural green energy crap.
Right.
But then they're trying to also keep the other, because they're trying to get all this other gas prices down so they can keep that part too. Yeah. They're trying to have their cake and eat it too with that.
Yeah.
With that policy.
I also
and
really think,
and it's a control too of the oil. It's always a control of the oil.
these corrupt politicians, man, look how old they are.
Yeah.
I think they're coming to the end, of their lives for the most part. I mean, how much more time do these people have? It seems to me that these people are just getting in where they can. Fuck everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going for me and mine, no matter what.
You're probably more on the money because what they're trying to do is trying to appease their base and look, line their pockets a little bit with this oil and stuff money. So it's like it's really hypocritical.
Yeah, 100%.
Energy and all this and all these regulations and stuff. But for us, of course, do as I say, not as I do. I'm going to have my big jet airplanes. I'm going to fly I'm going to have my cars. I'm going to have whatever I want.
Well, more than that, if we are going,
I'm going to line my pockets with the oil money.
Yeah, if we are going green, all these people in Congress and shit, they know all this shit ahead of time because they're cutting the policies on this shit. So they know when to invest. They know when not to. I mean, come on, man. There is shit going down that we don't fucking know about, and it seems to me that Donald Trump really scratched the surface and then started picking out a scab and fucking watching these people just frail and freak out. You start putting all this together, you end up with what Tim Pool has put together, and it's fucked up. Anyway, that's a heavy one, folks, but
sorry about that, but
had to share it with you.
Yeah.
Had to. It's all getting weird. Thanks for hanging out. Take care.
Later.
Check me out. Don't forget to hit that like button. Hit the button.